Welcome into today's episode of Big Blue Kickoff Live, presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the New York Football Giants. I'm Madelyn Burke alongside the Super Bowl champ Shaun O'Hara. The phone number here, 201-939-4513. Or you can find us on social media using hashtag Giants Chat. We're coming at you live from the Giants podcast studio, presented by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. It's Wednesday, my dudes. How you doing, Shaun?
I'm doing fantastic. What an action-packed trade deadline we had yesterday. The Giants did not trade any players, but I'm happy to report that after the trade of last week, trading Madelyn for John Schmel, we have traded John back to his normal schedule, and now we're reacquainted and reconnected.
You can Control Alt Delete Big Blue Kickoff Live trades. Let's undo.
No more trades.
No more trades. We're back.
Although
we're back to where we
got
started.
a lot of holidays coming up, so I'm sure there's going to be some shuffling of the cards.
Yeah, I can imagine it. But you know what? We're here. We're back.
Glad to be back in action with you. Last time I saw you was Sunday.
Yeah.
We were trying to wrap our heads around a really tough performance. But you have been super busy. You're living that bi-coastal life right now. So
that's true.
I'm just glad that you are here and you got some sleep.
Yeah. Well, the latter maybe not, but yeah. Sleep when we're dead. But you know what? Some sleep. Yes, I definitely blinked a little bit longer than normal. But yeah, I just got back from LA. I got a chance to do Red Zone OT with Scott Hansen, your pal.
He's one of the best in the business.
Great dude, one of the best in the business. Elite ball knower, and can confirm he does not pee the entirety of Sunday. He doesn't. That was the first thing I asked him. I said, "Listen, Scott,
he's a machine.
I know that you get asked this at least once a day, but what's the strategy? What's the bathroom strategy?" And he's like, "I dehydrate myself on Saturdays. I don't go because my nightmare is, even if, they're thoughtful and they're going to a game, play-by-play is on the call. He's like, what if an amazing play happens and I'm in the bathroom and I miss it? He doesn't want to miss it." Also, fun fact, and I'm sure you know this, the NFL Network offices have heated toilets.
Yes.
Like, the toilet seats are heated.
They're not just heated. They clean themselves.
Yeah.
Like there are more buttons on the toilet than on your remote control.
You walk in, the lid just opens itself. It's like motion sensing. It's like, hello, welcome to the bathroom.
Yeah, I think Mark Quinzel takes credit for that. When they were planning all that stuff, that was one of his big contributions. He was like, don't tell Roger Goodell that we have these toilets in here because he will go nuts. But Scott Hansen he's a great football broadcaster, but an even better person. Great dude. He helped me out my very first year with the NFL Network. Scott taught me everything. I didn't know anything about TV. I didn't go to school for it. I didn't know anything. So one of the first shows I did was with Scott. It was Total Access, and they hand you the rundown. It's like A block, B block, C block. And I'm like, what's a B block? Like, that to me is a backside scoop between guard and tackle. Like, I don't know what do you mean blocking? Like, I'm thinking I gotta
what's the play here?
Those are segments in the show. So I would always listen to Scott and I would pepper him with questions. What does that mean? He would get done reading a highlight or something on camera. And then he would immediately say, "There's not enough pad in that. Why did you put pad in it?" And I'm like, "Scott, what is pad?"
Yeah.
And he would kind of tell me it's the amount of time after a video cuts out to give you time to set it up or segue to the next thing. So
so that it's not just on a freeze frame when they're transitioning and it's like the video just stops. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. To this day, I feel like I owe so much of my TV knowledge to Scott. Having the patience. He went to Syracuse and I'm a Rutgers guy, so he didn't hold that against me. But a lot of people don't know Scott was a long snapper. He played for Syracuse and he was a heck of an athlete. I think that's what endeared him to the game. But yes, I found out firsthand his whole red zone routine because I used to do Total Access on Saturday night.
Yeah.
And he would be prepping the whole time for the show, but also for red zone. And he literally would not have a sip of anything starting on Saturday.
Yeah.
Like, he would completely cleanse himself. And I just admired the commitment because he was not going to get Wally Pipp for any reason.
No chance.
On red zone.
No chance. No Wally Pipp moments. He's on his feet the entire time, pacing back and forth, watching the in-studio Octo box. There's more than 8, actually.
Amazing stamina.
Great person. Great personality. What a gem. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. And now we're back. I made it back. I was like, listen, there's no chance I'm missing my Wednesday show with Shaun again this week. So we're back in the New York groove, reunited. And it feels so good. Even though, the last time I saw you, I've already deleted that. I've Men in Blacked myself from Sunday's
Well,
game
it probably feels like 2
Niners.
weeks given your run. But our last post-game show, I think we started out with like, that was just such a disappointing performance on both sides of the ball. And, it's funny because after we do that show, I get in the car, I drive home, I kind of listen to Schmelk and Tiki break it down a little bit more with Paulie Dots on the post-game radio show. And when I get back to, as I get home and things start to kind of saturate a little bit more, and then you start watching the film, there were so many inconsistent plays that I think that's why the word that came to mind at the time was just disappointing, because there are plays that could have been made on both sides of the ball. And it's things, it's like, hey, Theo Johnson makes an unbelievable play for a touchdown and then drops a routine pass play in the middle of the field on a third down. Darius Slayton, unbelievable throw. That might be one of the best throws I've seen Jackson Dart throw in the NFL to Darius Slayton towards the end of the game. And instead of making the catch for a touchdown, the ball squirts out. Right. Things that just, like, you can't be a good team and have those happen on a consistent basis. So that inconsistency was what was really disappointing to see, especially, going up against a team that was as mangled and marred from an injury standpoint as you were, that you felt like, all right, these two are two teams that are really trying to find their way. And I thought the 49ers executed better in a lot of areas. Defensively, Madelyn, I'll be honest with you, as I went back and watched the film, and I started watching the first couple series, the Giants defense played lights out. I mean, they were all over Christian McCaffrey. They were all over this offense. They were swarming to the ball. I saw an unbelievable amount of plays. And then it's almost like they just started to run out of gas as the game went along. And I don't know if that's because because they are a little bit thin with the injuries, and maybe some guys are taking more reps than they're used to. But
or also too, it might be because of the fact that the offense stagnated, right? I think you talk to defensive players and you think, what's the worst thing that you could hear on the sideline as a defensive player? It's punt team, get ready, because it's like, wait, we're back in already, and I think when you're on the field,
that's a great point. And we hit on that. After that opening drive touchdown, 3 of the next 4 possessions were 3 and outs. So the defense all of a sudden got worn out. But there were definitely some times where I felt like the 49ers did a really good job on offense of attacking different sides of the defense. Nobody runs more pre-snap motion than the 49ers. And, Juszczyk is constantly flipping sides. The tight ends are constantly flipping. And what that does is...
Well, sometimes Juszczyk flip sides a little bit too soon.
Sometimes.
And they don't, they just let it happen, even though there might be rules
they let him have a full step before the ball moves.
Might encourage against that in the rule book.
For those of you that aren't privy to this, Madelyn's talking about the 4th and 1 quarterback sneak where Juszczyk, the fullback, moved before the ball was snapped. It was clear, obvious. The defensive guys are pointing out. Thibodeau's pointing out. Everybody's pointing out false start, and the refs missed it. So how many times have you seen the refs miss a call against the Giants or go for the Giants this season? It feels like it's happening way too frequently. But I think this 49ers offense kind of exposed a couple of things with the defense in terms of how they line up in one formation, tight end left, fullback left, and then boom, tight end comes over in motion the other side, fullback goes, and there was an error in the defensive adjustment to now the strength of formation is to the right, and they weren't all on the same page. So those are things that should be fixable because it's just recognition as players. But I looked at a lot of the stuff that they executed well in those first 2 or 3 drives that then they did not execute as well in the second half. And at the end of the game, when the 49ers were trying to just pound the rock, that's when they kind of took over the game, and then you could see the Giants defense wearing out. But that's why when I look at the game and I see the players making the plays in the first 20 plays of the game and then not executing on those same exact plays and tackles and getting off blocks, right? That, to me, I always lean at the players like, that's your job. Like, you were in position for the first quarter of the game, and then as the game progressed, things did not, they were not executed to the same high level that they were previously. That is the job as a player. You've got to play your best football in the fourth quarter with the game on the line. You can't play your best football in the first quarter and then just try coast. And I feel like that's kind of that was the theme that I saw defensively.
Right. Yeah. And you got to kind of keep it going all game. They got some offense going late, but again, like as we talked about on the post-game show on Sunday, it was against prevent defense, and a lot of that just Jackson Dart's unwillingness to lay off the gas. That's one of the great things about him as a young leader in this locker room. We saw his frustrations after the game, and not frustration, more again, that disappointment word that we expressed on the show. It felt like he was expressing that as well in the post-game media availability. It was just this defeated nature of just like, I don't like to lose, and I know that there's more talent and ability on this team than what we're executing right now. And can we level it up on the road in week 10 in Chicago in the Shaun O'Hara Bowl? You know, the team you played for and won a Super Bowl with against a team you as a young child, a wee lad, grew up rooting for. It's an interesting matchup, this one. Yeah,
this is look, if you loved football as a young kid, you know who Walter Payton was. Walter Payton was my favorite player. I wore 34 before I was, destined to be an O-lineman. Back when I could still run and keep up with people. So it was Mike Singletary on defense and Walter Payton. Those were some of my childhood idols. But if you love football, playing in Soldier Field, I mean, it's like playing in Lambeau.
Yeah.
This is a historic site. Football in Chicago, it means something. Some might call it a religion. So this game, for any young player or fan that loves the game of football, this is a great opportunity to get to play the Chicago Bears in Chicago at Soldier Field. It's going to be great, great football climate, great football weather. This November in Chicago is great football weather. So this is a great opportunity for them. But to your point about Jackson, I like the way that he is frustrated and is not shy in sharing it. Like, look, I think that just kind of shows his leadership that, look, I have an expectation of myself and of my team. And the number one thing is, did we win or did we lose? He's not into moral victories. He was asked before about how do you feel about your personal performance. He shot it down right away. It doesn't matter how I played. We lost.
Yeah.
That is what you want to hear. And that's the type of mentality that you need when you're talking about your top 10% of players on your team. Those are the guys that have to set that tempo and set that expectation and that standard of excellence. And that's what Jackson Dart is doing. Now, I think the other frustration too is, he's taken some hits and he's taken some rookie lumps as well.
Yeah.
And then there are times where it's, hey, you know what? I'm making some good throws here and I'm making some plays. Like, you guys got to step up for me, and you're supposed to be helping me out here. I'm the young buck. Like, you're supposed to be making it easy on me.
Right.
And we're making it hard on ourselves. It doesn't need to be that hard. And I think that's where some of that frustration boils over. So carry it over into this week. I've always felt like, during the week, that's when you check all the boxes. That's when you set yourself up and give yourself a chance to win on Sunday. You have to go out and execute it. But bring that same fire and the same passion to the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday practice.
And execute on both sides of the ball. This is going to be a challenge, especially for this defense, when you look at the way that this Bears team is playing of late. I mean, the beginning of the season, they were really reliant on Caleb Williams in the passing game. They finally started leaning heavier on the run in the last several weeks. Then DeAndre Swift goes down, and Kyle Monunga is like, I got this. 176 yards rushing for the young guy this week in Chicago. And also the Bears, not one, not two, 4 different players threw a pass. Caleb Williams threw for 3 touchdowns and caught one. They're getting so creative with what they're doing on the offensive side of the ball, which number 1 tells me they feel stable and confident in their base. And number 2 tells me Ben Johnson is trusting this team to do more. And number 3 tells me that, the Giants defense is going to also have to get creative in a way to kind of figure out how to cover what they're doing.
Yeah, this Bears offense is starting to look like the Ben Johnson offense that we saw in Detroit.
Yeah.
You mentioned DeAndre Swift. He has 200-yard gains. He goes down, and Kyle Monunga, the Rutgers Scarlet Knight, is filling in and rattles off 176 yards rushing.
Yeah.
That is basically what you saw in Detroit with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, like a 1-2 punch in the backfield. Caleb Williams has not thrown for 300 yards yet this season. Like, he doesn't have a 300-yard game. Nope. He hasn't thrown the ball over 40 times in a game. So when you think about the identity of this Bears offense, they are clearly trying to be a run-first team. And I don't know what DeAndre Swift's status is right now, but that's where they're going to try to hang their hat on. That's their identity, and that's what they want to do. How ironic that the one thing the Giants are struggling with right now is stopping the run. Mm-hmm. And that's something that, we've been talking about for weeks now. Like, that has to get better. Like at some point, we got to put that fire out. So this is a great challenge right here. What the Bears are doing up front, the way that they're running the football, that's mission number one. Like, let's stop the run. We can't give up big plays. And then Caleb Williams has shown his ability to ad-lib plays, extend plays with his legs, get out of the pocket, and move around. So, again, it's another mobile quarterback that you've got to find a way to contain, keep him in the pocket. Don't let him hurt you. Don't give up any of those big plays because he gets out of the pocket, and now we're struggling in coverage.
Yeah. And, the Giants are dealing with some injuries as well. I mean, John Michael Schmidt's not practicing today. Jermaine Illuminor not practicing. Bo Collins. Paulson Adebo, again, not practicing. He missed the last 2 games. Darius Muasau, Chauncey Golston. Several key players, especially on the defensive side of the ball. We've got Javon Holland back in there, which is a nice
that's good.
sign.
They need him back defense. There. Things have really kind of, it looks like they've really struggled since Javon Holland went out.
Well, Javon Holland and Paulson Adebo and Cordell Flott all go out in one fell swoop almost. And so then your safety and 2 of your top 3 corners are out, and then Art Green goes out. So you're down depth at corner.
That's where we've seen a lot of the big plays happen. Just guys out of position, bad angles, not inserting in the right area.
Corey Black, a talented young guy, but a 7th-round pick who 2 weeks ago was on the Jets practice squad, gets his first start last week for the Giants and, making the most of it. But again, thrown in baptism by fire right there. That's a tough one, and that's something that, opposing quarterbacks are going to target. But the injuries, everyone deals with them around the league. 201-939-4513 is the phone number. Giants fans, make sure you go and subscribe to the Giants Huddle podcast. It features long-form interviews with Giants players, coaches, and front office staff, past and present. Plus, hear from the best analysts covering Big Blue and the NFL. Search for Giants Huddle and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, or simply go to giants.com/podcast. And don't forget, if you're on Apple Podcasts, leave us a 5-star positive review for all of our Giants podcasts. Like, comment, subscribe. You know the deal. 201-939-4513 is the phone number. Phone lines lighten up, so let's get to some of the calls, Shaun. Starting with Lou in Pennsylvania. Lou, welcome to the show. You're on Big Blue Kickoff Live with Shaun and Madelyn.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing well. How are you, Lou?
I'm doing well. What I wanted to ask Shaun, in the locker room, because it seems like the team is more talented than what they actually playing on the field. Do you think a different voice in the room and the defensive side, because a new voice in the room will help, or you just think it's the players not executing? That's what's happening. And with we have our front 7 starters from the beginning of the season. Why are we struggling to stop the run so much? Is Dexter Lawrence still hurt? And I'll take the answers off here.
Thanks so much for the call, Lou.
Got it, Lou. Yeah, appreciate you calling in. So I guess I'm a little confused when you were talking about the locker room, and is there need to be a new voice in the locker room? So I'm not sure if you're saying a veteran player, or if you were referring to a coach, but I feel like the coach would not be in the locker room. He would be in the meeting room. So I'm trying to kind of read between that question there. I think this is a good veteran locker room. I think they do have some really good leaders. And I feel like, when you've heard Kayvon Thibodeau and Brian Burns and Dexter Lawrence and Bobby Okereke, when you've heard them talk after the game, like they're all placing blame on themselves. This is not a fragmented locker room. They are not blaming the coaches, blaming, the offense. I think they're taking ownership, and they know that it's about execution. And look, there's always going to be times in a game where, maybe you're in a bad defensive call, and the coaches will always own up to that. Offensive coaches do that too. Hey, look, that was a bad play call. We should have never ran that play against that defense or against that front. We put you in a bad position. So there are some of those things that happen every single week. I don't feel like this Giants team is lacking leadership in the locker room or accountability. I think that they are frustrated because they think that they, like you said, are a very talented defense. And I think that they are. But when you're not, when 10 guys are all on the same page and doing the right thing and one guy is not, that's when you give up a big play. If you have 9 guys that are in the right spot and 2 guys that one has a mental bust and the other one just misses a tackle, now you've got bad football. And so that's where the team concept really comes to fruition. And I think that they are aware of that. I think they're trying to find a way to fix that. And look, the only way to do it is to go out and execute it. You got to go out and prove it. to each other, to the fans, to your coaches, and to yourself. So with your question to the front, is Dexter Lawrence hurt? Not that I'm aware of. Dexter Lawrence is playing his butt off. So for the last 2 weeks, I went back and watched all of his plays. Dexter Lawrence is in the backfield, pushing guys back on pass pro. He's in the quarterback's lap. I have zero issue with Dexter Lawrence. I think he's playing as the effort is not a factor. It's not an issue. So I don't know, I'm not sure where that came from, but Dexter Lawrence is also getting a lot more attention than most other defensive tackles in the league. He has 4 hands on him on pretty much every pass play. First, second down, if there's a pass play action, he's got a center and a guard. They both have their hands on him.
It's challenging too because he set the bar so high last season for himself. 9 sacks in the first half of the season as a nose tackle is tough. So we have seen the upside of what Dexter Lawrence is capable of. And not to say what he is doing is not strong now, but I think some fans might say, well, in comparison to when he had an excellent last year, a very good year kind of falls short.
That season for Dexter Lawrence with that many sacks it's not just that, that was a good season. That was a unicorn.
Right.
As a nose guard or defensive tackle.
That doesn't happen.
Sacks are not how you grade his performance. That's maybe defensive end, you can do that. Mm-hmm. But there are so many different things that come into play with sacks. And for Dexter, his sack production is really what you look at Burns and Thibodeau and Carter. Because their production on the outside is because they are one-on-one. Yeah. They're on islands.
And Burns leading the league in that area.
Yeah. So I think that is Dexter Lawrence is wearing that like a badge of honor because he knows my dudes are getting sacks on the outside because I'm taking 2 blockers. And if I got 2 guys on me, that means you guys are one-on-one. So now you guys got to win. And that's the role that he, I think he embraces that. He understands that. And that's the respect that teams are giving him. Because they're saying we don't think our guys can hold up one-on-one on Dexter, so let's make sure that we handle that. And Dexter's job really is to push that pocket back so the quarterback can't step up. So now he can't avoid that edge rush, and that's why we've seen all that production. So it goes hand in hand with that. And I think Dexter is. Look, I have zero issue with him. I think he's playing as hard as he possibly can, and. You know what? The sacks aren't there. The big plays aren't really there. I mean, he did have an interception that he almost took to the house against the Chargers.
The fact that Justin Herbert tackled him just short.
Maybe if he scored and he had a thick 6 to go with his stats, maybe that would endear fans. But
he was doubled on that play, gets a hand up, swats it down, and is able to pick it up. I mean, that play alone.
I don't know why he's become the punching bag for the defense. But, when I look at this front, I don't look at the inability to stop the run or some of these big plays. It's not because of the front 4, and it's because look, losing Micah McFadden I think is a big blow. It's been a big blow to this defense.
Absolutely.
Darius Muasau now, he got banged up in that game, and you mentioned he's on the injury report. Mm-hmm. You put him in there, and he can't do the same things that Micah McFadden can do. So I think there's been some growing pains with him there. And then I think the safeties have really struggled with coming up and making tackles and inserting into those 8-man fronts. As you try to stop the run, you bring down a strong safety, you bring down a free safety to make it an 8-man box. And there's been times when they took poor angles as they insert. We even saw Deonte Banks, struggle to make tackles. We've seen that week in and week out. As a corner, you're the force defender. You're on the outside. It's your job to push everything back to the inside. If you kind of lose that leverage, now all of a sudden you have no help. He's out the sideline and out the gate. So there's a lot of different reasons for all that, but I certainly wouldn't place the blame on the front 4 as you were bringing up, and I certainly don't see any issue with Dexter Lawrence's play.
And when things aren't going well, people like to look at, say, okay, who can I point the finger at? Who can I blame? And that's understandable human nature. Everyone wants a pound of flesh. We're getting some YouTube comments as well. One from Johnny Mack, which our producer today, Johnny Mack, has clarified it is not him. It's a different Johnny Mack.
Different? There's two of you?
Johnny Mack.
I don't think we can handle 2 Johnny Macks, but I love that YouTube works for BBK. It doesn't work for Monday Night Football, but I'm glad to see your subscriptions are paying off.
At least we still got you here on BBK. Johnny Mac, not producer Johnny Mac, says Theo Johnson's drops are building up. Why don't we make Daniel Bellinger tight end one? Daniel seemed to show a lot of potential before his injury. Didn't seem to get as many reps after. Well, he didn't play last week because he was out with that neck injury. So we're not quite yet at the after part of that injury, Johnny Mac, not producer Johnny Mac. But Theo Johnson also leads the Giants with 5 touchdowns right now, 5 receiving touchdowns. So he is producing in a high way, and that volume of targets that he is getting. And yes, there are, a couple of moments that even Theo is going to look at and say, I want that one back. But that's kind of what happens when you have a volume that high, and got to clean it up. And yes, Daniel Bellinger, when he is back and healthy and back ready to play, I would be certain that he's going to have a significant role in this offense again.
Theo, it's a little perplexing because he makes a lot of hard catches.
Yes.
He has good hands, and
it's like sometimes when it's too easy, you're already thinking, oh yeah, I got this one in the bag, and you're already thinking of something else.
Yeah.
You got to kind of remember, even though it feels easy, catch the ball, then take a step towards the house.
Yeah, I think just kind of in my brain as I kind of go back to some of the drops that I've seen from Theo. I feel like the times when he does struggle with the drops is when it's almost like he doesn't see the ball till it's too late. Like he's late getting his hands up to catch the ball. So he's turned around. It happened a couple times with Russell because Russell does throw some fastballs, and the ball got on him quicker than he thought. And so he didn't have his hands up ready to catch it. So it's almost like he's reacting to the ball's on me now. And in this latest game, he kind of ran like a little curl route. And as he sat down and kind of came out of the break, the ball was already on him and it was over here. And so he was late with his hands, reaching back like this to catch the ball, as opposed to if he was ready and going, he's catching the ball in front of him. So I think some of that is technique wise, because Theo has, number one, he's a really big target. And to your question about Bellinger, I feel like there are 2 different types of tight ends. Like Bellinger is more of an H-back, more of a guy that you're going to kind of get out of the backfield. You're not going to really ask Bellinger to run down the seam. And he doesn't have that same kind of body control that Theo does when it comes to running routes and receivers. But, it's Theo's second year. I think there are still some things that he's still working at and honing his craft and getting better at. And certainly making those routine catches routinely is one of the things that I know he's focusing on.
Yeah, Giants fans, with another impactful draft and free agency class in the books, that means it's full steam ahead of the 2025 season. Take your fandom to the next level with a Giants season ticket membership and catch all the action at MetLife Stadium, connected to club all year round, not just on game days, with exclusive member access and benefits. To learn more about a New York Giants season ticket membership, visit giants.com/tickets, 201-939-4513. Let's go back to the phones. Joey in California. Joey, you're on Big Blue Kickoff Live with Shaun and Madelyn.
Hi, Shaun. Hi, Madelyn. Thanks for having me on the show.
Thanks for calling.
Well, first of all, I'm a little surprised that with the trade deadline passing, the Giants did not trade away either Evan Neal or Jalin Hyatt. Evan, who hasn't played a game at all this year. He hasn't even suited up. So I'm very surprised they're holding on to him. But you know what?
What did you think they were getting for him?
Right.
Well, I thought.
How do you know that they didn't try to trade him?
Round pick.
How do you know that they didn't try to trade him?
Oh, no, I'm not saying they didn't try to trade him. I'm just surprised that they didn't.
Okay, so if they tried to trade him and nobody offered anything valuable for them, then what are you supposed to do?
Yeah, I understand. I'm just saying I'm surprised.
I'm not.
I would have thought with the way Evan Neal's career hasn't.
Yeah, so why, if you're another team, why would you trade for Evan Neal? He's not even playing.
Maybe he fits in their offense better than he fit in ours.
He's not even playing. So what are you trading him for?
No, just fifth round pick. Maybe a player that's not playing as much on their team. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. So thanks for him. Also, Jalin Hyatt. I remember I was at that game in Arizona in 2023, and I saw him just be a playmaker, and I was like, okay, this guy has got something. And ever since then, it's been downhill for him. And when Malik Neighbors got hurt, I was like, okay, Jalin, this is your time. This is it. I hope to see you on the field. And now he's doing kick and punt returns, which is fine. But at the same time, I'm like, I see the Giants passing game. very conservative. It's short field most of the time. I'm wondering, are they not having enough confidence in Jalin Hyatt on this offense, or are they not willing to risk Jackson Dart throwing deep balls down the field?
I don't know that it's a confidence issue. I think it's more of just understanding where Jalen's strengths are. And I think when we watch in recent weeks, we've talked about that on this show as well, like Jalen's got a lot of speed, and if he gets open grass in front of him, he can break away. But if he does not get separation from a defender, he has a harder time coming up with a 50-50 ball. If he's got a defender in his pocket, that's when you see the incomplete passes in his direction. And so I don't know if it's not trusting Jalin, but perhaps understanding the coverage that he is playing in and whether it's to his benefit to throw it his direction.
I feel like receivers have to earn targets. Like, we're not just going to throw definitely the ball your way and just hope that, you find a way to make a play. So, I think you earn that trust in practice every single day. I think everybody's been disappointed with Jalin Hyatt and where he's at right now in his career. I don't think anybody thought that this is where he was going to be when they drafted him. They thought he would make more of an impact. And so I agree with you with that. Like, when Malik Neighbors went down, everybody was looking to see, like, all right, who's going to step up? Who's going to be that guy? You have a great opportunity. Like, seize the moment. Like, you would like to see a player step up and say, you know what, I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to do whatever it takes. And, I think everybody was hoping that Jalin Hyatt would do that and he would be that guy. And it hasn't happened for a myriad of reasons. But I also feel like he's been given some opportunities. He's made some good catches at times. And, look, there's been some times where even when he was open, Jackson Dart has missed him. There was a couple of games where he was streaking down the middle of the field, the Denver game, like he's wide open and, it's a misfire. So it's not all on him every single time. But I think the fact that Gunnar Olszewski was in the game and he wasn't, towards the end of this game, I think that tells you a lot about where he fits in on this offense. And, believe me, if he was beating guys one-on-one during the week, like he'd be getting a shot on Sunday. Right. And, the quarterbacks see it too. When they're doing drills and when they're over there doing one-on-ones with the defensive backs and they're throwing to them, they know who can get open and who can't. So that is already in their mind. And now when it comes game day, like when I'm in trouble, I know who I'm looking for and I know who I'm counting on, that if I put this ball in their vicinity, that they're going to come down with that catch. Those are the trust factor throws that you've got to have.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to let you guys go, but before I do, I just want to make one more thing. This past weekend, the Giants wore their throwback uniforms and
legacy uniforms.
Legacy.
I have said it before on the show. I will say it again. Those need to be the permanent home uniforms. Those helmets are awesome. The jerseys are awesome. The fans love them. Look, if ownership is listening to this, please make those the permanent home uniforms. Thank you, guys. Have a nice day.
Thanks so much for the call,
Appreciate
Joey.
it.
Yeah, they did look good. I like the legacy uniforms.
They do. They look sweet, but we don't play well in them.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like every year we bust out those legacy uniforms, we're doing a disservice because it doesn't look like the same football that used to be in those jerseys. So, again, you can't wear those every single week because then now all of a sudden you don't love them like that.
Yeah.
The novelty of them is kind of part of what's really cool.
If those become the normal, then the Giants' current uniforms become the legacy, and then the rarity of the current uniforms becomes, those look sharp. We should wear those more often.
Yeah, I also think that the sales in the team stores would go down if that was the you got to pump them out. You got to bring them out.
Yeah, and luckily for Joey, you can go to NFLshop.com or the Giants team store and get you a legacy jersey.
You can wear legacy stuff every single game, every
week.
Single Sunday if you want.
We love it. The Giants official connected TV streaming app Giants TV brings original video content and game highlights on demand and direct to Big Blue fans. Giants TV is free on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire TV, and on the Giants mobile app. 201. Free 99. That's it's in everyone's budget. 201-939-4513 is the phone number. Going back to the lines, they're lighting up. Phil in North Carolina. Phil, thanks for calling. You're on Big Blue Kickoff Live with Shaun and Madelyn.
Yeah, thanks, Madelyn and Shaun. Good job as usual. Hey, Hey, so really frustrated with the defense, obviously, in that last game. And what I can't really wrap my head around is that Christian McCaffrey getting open several times, wide open, when all during the week, the whole emphasis should have been on Christian McCaffrey, and how it should be kind of relayed to the players is if you're unsure about coverage, right, always opt for taking Christian McCaffrey. It's like there was a play where Corey Black, I know he's new, but you got to drum into these players that, okay, if there's the most important person on their offense, right? Do not let him be by himself. And he was several plays that was it's just mind-boggling. And that, to me, is coaching and making sure that
that message wasn't
accounting
relayed
for Christian.
You don't know that message wasn't relayed, and I don't think anyone in that locker room doesn't acknowledge the impact that Christian McCaffrey has on that 49ers offense.
Yeah, I don't chalk that up to coaching. I know the exact two plays you're talking about because I watched them on film as well. Because like you, I had the same questions. How do we let that guy get open? Like he was the cover of Madden football, like the video game. Like so, like when they break the huddle, you're always like, "Where's McCaffrey?" Right? Like that's what everybody does.
Exactly.
So believe me, Shane Bowen and the coaches, like they were telling them, "Hey, look, when they get down in the red zone, find McCaffrey because they have plays designed to get him the football." So let's talk about the first one, the touchdown throw. All right, Christian McCaffrey defensively. All right, you're looking at the offense. They break the huddle. Christian McCaffrey's on the left. They have trips right. All right, 3 receivers to the right. Christian McCaffrey's on the left side of the quarterback. All right, Bobby Okereke has him in coverage, and Bobby's looking at him. All right, the ball is snapped. Christian McCaffrey comes in front of the quarterback across the offensive formation, all right, and he leaks out. So Bobby Okereke, all right, that's my guy. He turns to run. You know what those 3 receivers did? They formed a picket fence. They all ran in-cutting routes, and they were right there, standing there in Bobby Okereke's way. So now he turns and, oh my gosh, I've got a wall of bodies. I've got, like, how do I get through all this? He's he looks like Frogger trying to get through traffic on the other side of the road. And he gets caught up. He gets caught up in the melee, and Christian McCaffrey's wide open for a touchdown. It's easy. So you don't think Shane Bowen showed him that play? I guarantee you they have run that play before. I've seen the Chiefs run that play with Kelsey, with other guys. Andy Reid loves those type of plays where you use those guys
NBA
coming in the middle of the field. It's a rub route, basically.
Yeah.
So I guarantee you Bobby Okereke has seen that play, and he just got caught up. Now, in that situation, what you would like to see is, hey, it's trips left. You know what? McCaffrey's over here. I'm going to get a little depth pre-snap. This is Bobby Okereke's brain working. I'm going to get a little depth right now because I don't want to get picked. All right. So that's Bobby Okereke. It's on him. I don't blame the coaches for that. I guarantee you he was told, be ready for this. And as soon as you see him going that way, you got to beat him to the punch. So that was on Bobby Okereke. Now, the second play you're talking about is towards the end of the game. McCaffrey leaks up the left sideline, and you're talking about Corey Black. He gets caught, doesn't understand, see where he is. Pre-snap, the 49ers ran a guy in motion over to that side. All right, there was no receiver to that side, if I'm not mistaken. Guy comes over in motion, and now he's the man on the line. So now Corey Black thinks, all right, that's my guy now. I have him in coverage. It was a play-action fake. So now he sees run at first, and as he steps up, he doesn't realize that Bobby Okereke and Brian Burns have the tight end. So Burns was actually in coverage, and it was actually Kittle and the other tight end both on that side. And Corey Black for a second looked in at the tight end and saw the run fake, and then before he knew it, McCaffrey was already by him. So that is a player that is now filling in for an injured player who I guarantee you they've seen that play on the scout team because the 49ers run that play a lot. It was not a new play, and he just lost his coverage responsibility. And he kind of got caught up in, I think it's run because it's the end of the game. They're running their 4-minute offense, and it looked like run. It sounded like run to him, so he was taking a step up thinking run, and boom, it was like that gotcha moment, like got him, and McCaffrey's up the sideline. So those are two different players making a mistake mentally as to who do I have in coverage and how do I prevent this from being a big play. I don't want to hear the coaching thing. No, This was player execution. They know better than that. They failed on the execution part of it. It's on them.
Yeah, so we're going to disagree on that, Shaun, because I think the first one, I think that's a bad play call if you're going to have Okereke take McCaffrey. Yeah, so I think you should audible into something.
Who would you put on McCaffrey?
And we're going to have to maybe do cover 4 or something like that, so that we get equal spacing on the. We have someone on the outside there instead of having everybody in the inside. So. That's me, but we'll disagree on that one.
Well, number one, the Giants play a lot of man coverage. So Bobby Okereke is our best cover linebacker. Right. So I have no problem with him being one-on-one with Christian McCaffrey, and I have no problem with him covering. I think he could do it. In that situation, in that play, he got caught up. And you know what? That's part of the game.
Yeah.
But you're not going to play cover 4 in the red zone.
Right. In the red zone, in the short field, you don't.
You've seen him live more than me, so. I just think
and they're both Stanford guys, so you think that you think a Stanford guy would have had that figured out, right? That was Stanford on Stanford crime right there, McCaffrey and Okereke.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then just one more thing, and thanks for that answer before. Is that why do you think it's been this way for 10 to 13 years? Why do you think our receivers can't make contested catches? Are we drafting the wrong people? You see it on the other team all the time, people making contested catches against us, but we can't make any contested catches.
I would disagree with that.
Years.
I would disagree with that, Phil. There's some pretty iconic contested catches that Giants receivers have made. Odell.
I would agree with it the last few weeks, but Malik Neighbors has made a living on contested catches.
Malik Neighbors thrives in contested catches.
Yeah, I think OBJ,
Odell,
that was kind of how he created his whole brand was contested catches. I think, if you were to look at the Giants, when the season started, like Malik Neighbors is the number one receiver. But when you look at like the Cincinnati Bengals, and they've got Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, you look at some of the other teams, they've got 2 or 3 guys like that. The Rams, Puka Nacua, like that. You throw the ball anywhere near him, he's coming down with it. They have Devontae Adams as their number 2 receiver. Like that guy's a ball hawk. So, I think I would agree with you that we don't have enough of those guys. But when your number one guy goes down and Malik Neighbors, like it's hard to replace that production. You'd like to think that somebody would step up, and we were talking before about would it be Jalin Hyatt, would it be Darius Slayton, would it be Bo Collins? Because they're capable of doing that. We saw Bo Collins do it. We saw little Jordan Humphrey do it earlier this year. Those were kind of the contested catches guys, and look, they did it in the preseason. They did it. They've done it sporadically throughout the year, but I think that's ultimately the goal as a general manager is how do we get more of those guys? How do we get more of those guys on the roster, and how do we have more guys so if we do lose one of them that somebody can step up and fill that void?
Yeah. And thank you so much for the call, Phil. We appreciate you chiming in here.
Yeah, Phil, I like the call. Here's my thing with the coaching stuff. Like I feel like it's a lazy narrative. Like, the coaching. And here's my theory on that. And I'm coaching my son's football team. So I'm an assistant coach. I coach the O-line and the D-line. One of the things that I talk from day one when I'm coaching the defensive ends, your number one job is you don't let the ball get outside of you. All right? At all costs. Like, I don't care if you don't make the tackle, but you cannot let the ball get outside of you. And I tell them, if you do that, I will take you off the field. Like, that's your number one job.
Yeah.
Defensive end. You attack that tight end or tackle, you play outside arm free. And if you see the quarterback, running back, or anybody coming your way and the ball is near you, you attack it upfield. Second game of the year. Defensive end. Boom. Hits the guy. Oh, I see a fullback dive. He puts his head in there. All right. And they go out the outside. Big run. All right. Boom. I pull him off the field. What can't you do? I can't let the ball get outside. Okay. What happened? So is that my fault? Am I a bad coach? I told him. I told him 100 times, you cannot let the ball get outside of you. He messed up. I'm sure there's a parent on the stand saying, the coaches don't know their elbow from their ass, just like you just did. But I know damn sure I know what I'm doing, and I'm coaching him, but he's human. He's also 12, so as a pro, I get it. A 12-year-old makes a mistake. Like he's the kid's been playing football for a year, maybe 2, but you don't expect pro players to make those same mistakes, but they do. They do. One of the biggest fallacies.
Well, it's also
Madelyn,
it's human nature. I mean, as a pro player, as a pro in anything, you've got a million things that you're keeping track of in your mind, and there's bound to be one moment where something happened so quickly, and you're like, "Oh, I knew that. I knew better." But in that moment, you're retaining a lot of information. It's human nature, and I mean, to your point, it's like parenting. Like you could tell your kids, "Hey, take out the trash, take out the trash, take out the trash."
Yeah.
You come home, the trash isn't taken out. Is that you not telling them? Is that you being a bad parent, or is that them just being like, "Oh yeah, I forgot," or "I didn't do it"? And to Phil's point, it's not that the coaches aren't telling them Christian McCaffrey is a focal point. It's not that they don't know Christian McCaffrey. It's not that your kids don't know the trash needs to be taken out. Just sometimes.
Yeah. If it's something that you didn't teach them,
right?
Or hey, I showed you this, or we rehearsed this, we practiced it, we walked through it. Then obviously, all right, now, hey, look, I shoulder the blame. You know what? That's a play we never saw. I never coached that. You can't expect players to do something that you haven't taught them,
right? Or
that they haven't seen. So there's that part of it. But I think one of the biggest fallacies in the NFL, and I learned this my rookie year when I was in college and aspiring to be in the NFL. I had this vision, in college, like, man, if I made a mistake, I'm like, that's it. If I make a mistake, if I miss a block, or if I get beat, like, I'm never going to make it to the NFL because the NFL is perfect. Like, those guys don't make mistakes. Nothing could be further from the truth. And Bruce Arians, I give him credit to this day for this. He had an accountability sheet. After every single practice. We would come in after a Wednesday practice. He would make note of every error, mental error, missed block, or penalty that any player had in that practice, and he would put your name up there. So you'd walk in there, your name's on blast. And if your name showed up multiple times, everybody knew like you were the dummy. Like, all right, that's the guy that, we can't count on. And sure enough, by the end of the season, it would start with 15 players, and then it would slowly whittle down, and it would be only like 3 names. That's how we knew that we were getting good as a team when, we weren't beating ourselves. So I always put that on the players because you're a pro. You're getting paid. This is it. You're not going to school. You don't have any other job. Your only job is to know what you're supposed to do on every single play and every single situation and execute.
Yeah, execute. And then in Los Angeles, there's a summertime basketball league called the Drew League. It's at a high school gym in downtown LA. And oftentimes, a lot of NBA players will come through. A lot of really good street ballers will come through. It's a really great product. But I bring this up because on the wall in the Drew League, there's a giant poster that says, "No excuse, just produce." And it's like a motto that could not be truer. It is so great. And it's, whether you're, Kevin Durant coming in or LeBron coming in to get a run in, or, young street baller who just wants to get in some good basketball. It's just like, doesn't matter. Just produce. Just go out there, make the play, execute. No excuse, just produce. And that's just to your point. It doesn't matter, how many years you've been in the league. Doesn't matter. Everyone makes some mistakes. And if they make up for it, just like that, you've completely redeemed yourself.
Yeah. Just when I thought you couldn't possibly be any dumber. So
go and do something like
there
that.
Is, look, and the NFL, look, is a business. Everybody knows it's a production business, like what you're talking about. If you don't produce, like you'll be out of a job, player,
especially over a longer period of time. Yeah.
But coaches know this too. Like, coaches lose games. Players win games, right? So when you win a game, it's, hey, the players did great. They were awesome. All the praise goes to the players. When you lose a game, good coaches always say it's on us. Because that's just the way that the business is. Even when it's not on them, they know, like, look, our players, like, they messed this thing up. Like, we told them what to do. We told them what was going to happen, and they still mess it up. But coaches, that's the creed that they live by. When you lose games, it's on us as coaches. When you win games, it's you did it. Good job. It's the players that did it.
Yeah, absolutely. 201-939-4513. We've got time for one more call. Len in Columbia, Maryland is on the line. Len, welcome to Big Blue Kickoff Live. You're on with Shaun and Madelyn.
Thank you. Hi, Madelyn. Hi, Shaun.
What's up, Len?
How you doing,
haven't
Len?
had an opportunity to talk to you this season. I thought I'd give it a shot.
Love it.
Let's do it. Here I am. One of the frustrations of getting through to the program is you have to wait, and you're forced to listen. Otherwise you can kind of feed the cat.
We got a captive audience, is what we call it.
So sorry you've got to listen to our show, Len.
That kind of thing. And so I kind of got away from what I was originally going to talk about, but give me 30 seconds to just kind of respond and say this. I'm getting tired of the coach 'em up philosophy. Bottom line, we need better players. We just need better players. We're not competing. I'm tired of the let's coach 'em up. If these guys can't do it, get somebody else who can. If they can't remember how to make a play, turn that run to the outside, to the inside. If they can't do it or can't remember to try to do it, get somebody else to do it. Hey, Shaun, let me get on a little lighter note here. I'm sorry about the frustration.
Listen, your frustration is like you're not solo in that, Len. Like there's a whole group of people.
I know. I'm a regular caller and a regular.
You're in the trust tree. We got you.
Since the advent of the show, I go back a decade. So, yeah, I know. Thank you for addressing the rivalry. Chicago Bears, New York Giants. When you say it, it sounds important. Oh my God, Shaun!
It's rich.
I mean, consider this: we have played more World Championships games, including Super Bowls, against the Bears than any other team.
I did not know
now you
that.
got to go back in history to find some of those, and some of the greatest players in the history of the game played against each other in this rivalry. I think we ought to almost, watch the kickoff on Sunday in reverence of what these two titans of the NFL have meant to the NFL. It's just you can't write the history, Shaun.
No,
you can't write the history of the NFL
I'm getting goosebumps right now.
Chicago Bears, New York Giants.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I've been to Soldier Field, too. I was there in '93, Giants-Bears. We won that game. It was Dan Reeves' first game. And Bill Wannstedt with the Bears' first game as head coach. And we came away with a win. Great weekend, Shaun. On Saturday, I saw Notre Dame beat Northwestern, and on Sunday, I saw the Giants beat the Bears. Yeah. That's a great football weekend, guys.
Dave Wannstedt, with the famous mustache.
Yes. I think he coached at the University of Pittsburgh, too.
Yeah.
Madelyn, Johnny Mac beat me to it, but I was going to offer my opinion and ask you to respond to it. But I'm going to do it anyway and maybe phrase it in a little different way.
Okay.
If you can't catch the ball, you can't start for me.
I
want to go the Bellinger route.
Yeah.
We have cut tight ends better than Theo over drop balls. The last 2 weeks have been more frustrating than anything because the drops have come on third down. And it's taken us out of the game, essentially out of the games in both cases. Theo, catch the ball, sit on a bench, watch for a while, and catch you're a receiver. Don't tell me about how the blocking's improving, Madelyn.
Oh,
I don't care about his size and speed, and that was a great play early in the first quarter on that first touchdown. It really was a terrific play. You got to catch the ball, Theo. You sit, you watch. What do you think, Madelyn?
I don't disagree, especially in the imperative situations on third down. You want to get a catch in that moment. But to the point that Shaun made earlier, when he talked about how some of his former teammates would make some, Aquanagan moments and then they'd have a big play and all was forgiven. I mean, Theo Johnson has kind of had a little bit of a balance. Again, like we mentioned, he leads the team in receiving touchdowns this season. He has been a reliable target for Jackson Dart on so many occasions. But you're right, Len, there are some occasions in which you're like, that one right there.
Yeah.
That one you need to continue to be reliable, not have your oops-a-daisy moment. And so I don't disagree. I don't think that it's worth cutting Theo Johnson because he has made quite a few plays and has made a significant impact on this Giants offense. But you are right. Maybe he needs to spend a little bit more time with the jugs machine. Maybe he needs to work on the timing a little bit better. I'm not quite sure. To Shaun's point he made earlier, getting his hands up earlier, turning around earlier, understanding the pacing and the timing of the route and the way that the ball is going to come out. And working on that chemistry with the quarterback could be the solution here. To your point, though, yes, the drops are not something you want to see, and they're absolutely frustrating, and that's valid.
Drops.
And the timing in third down.
Us. Hey, thanks, Madelyn. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Shaun, let me ask you a quick question. I'll take the answer off air. If you can, real quickly, kind of take me through the development of the game plan. I mean, this is the first day of the practice week. I suspect. I don't want to say what I suspect. I want you to tell me. But tell me how that game plan gets formulated. You can pick one side of the ball. Maybe you know offense better. I assume the quarterback gets the plan the night before anybody else, and then it evolves from there. But to talk about input to it, how it changes going through, and I know it can go right up to the kickoff. If somebody gets hurt in practice before the game, you're on plan B for that phase of the game. But take me through the development and who really has input and who makes the final decision that, yes, this is what we're going to try to do on Sunday. Hey, thanks for taking my call. I'm sorry if I got a little frustrated. You guys are great. Let's go Giants. Let's beat the Bears.
Thanks for the call, Len, and thanks for holding.
Len, don't ever apologize for being frustrated. That means that you care.
Yeah.
Like, we love the passion. So thank you for calling in. Thank you for waiting. Sorry for the long pause before you got a chance to ask. I love the question about how does the game plan happen, because there are a lot of hands in this. Mm-hmm. And so pretty much Monday you come in after a game. All right. The coaches have already watched the film. They've graded the players out. You get together as an offense and a defense. You probably have a team meeting first. Coach kind of addresses the elephants in the room. Here's what didn't go well. Here's what went well. After a win, obviously that's a little bit easier to come in and do. But then you break up offensive, defense. You kind of break down. Here's some of the corrections that we need to make before we move on to next week. Then after you've done all that, maybe you have a walkthrough or a workout, then you kind of flush that game. All right, now we're done. We're done with the 49ers. Now we're on to the Bears. I would usually, personally, I would start watching film on Monday on my next opponent, just kind of on my own, just kind of getting like a general theme. And if I didn't do it on Monday, I would do it on Tuesday. So Tuesday is the player's day off. But starting Monday night, the coaches, they start breaking down film on the next opponent. All right, hey, we're playing the Bears. Okay, what are they doing well? Who ran the ball well against them? What plays did they run? Do we have plays similar to that? Who threw, for the most yards against them? What passing plays and concepts? Do they play man? Do they play more zone? Like what did teams do successfully against them? So you start watching to get to know their defense and their offense. Then Monday night, the coaches are all meeting. They're building up the game plan for the following week. Tuesday, they spend the whole day going over, okay, here are the plays that we're going to implement. Here are the running plays. Here are the passing plays. During those conversations, it's also, okay, is anybody out? Like, did anybody get hurt in this last game that we need to be aware of, right? So you mentioned Daniel Bellinger was not available last week. So you could have gone in on Tuesday, hey, we're going to run a lot of 2 and 3 tight end formations. We're going to pound the rock. You find out Tuesday night after doing all that, Belly's out. Like, we don't think Belly's going to have a chance to play. All right, you know what? We need to adjust. So now we got to get away from the 2 and 3 tight end packages. Now we're going to run more single tight end, maybe 1 or 2 tight ends. We got to kind of adjust that package. So the game plan is kind of brought about on Tuesday. The coaches meet. They meet as an offensive staff. They meet as a defensive staff. Mike Kafka, obviously the offensive coordinator. Dable is in that meeting. All of the other position coaches are in that meeting as well. And they all have a say. Hey, look, I'm sure they talked to Carmen Priscilla, the offensive line coach. Mm-hmm. Carmen, what do you like? What do you like this week? What are the boys doing well? What kind of runs really gouged the Bears defense? And you kind of go over that and you talk about it. Okay, what personnel are we going to run that out of? Do we have those players healthy? Do we have enough of those guys? So we put this into the game plan. We're going to be able to run it no matter who's in and who's out. So those are all things that come to fruition. Now, what has changed is every player now has one of these.
Yeah.
The iPad. So we would have to come in on Wednesday morning to physically get the hard copy of the binder that was the weekly playbook.
Now it's digitally uploaded immediately.
Boom,
yeah.
It's sent. So they might send it Tuesday night. They could send it Wednesday morning. So you're on your way in to the facility. You come in, you get in the hot tub, you're doing whatever you're doing. You can look at the playbook immediately. So there's no excuse to not have already laid eyes on it by the time you walk in there. But Wednesday, you are installing that game plan for the week. And it starts with first and second down runs on offense. All right, all of your first and second down runs go in. All of your play action passes go in on Wednesday. Thursday is when you do third down, right? So you have a package of plays for third down. And we break it up: 3rd and 2 to 5, 3rd and 5 to 7, third down and 7+. All right, so you have kind of 3 categories there. 3rd and 1 or 2 we consider short yardage. We do that on Fridays. So Friday is short yardage and goal line, and more red zone, and 2-minute. And then Thursday is third down and some red zone. So that's how you kind of break up the week as far as installing what you're going to do. So it's all like it's game situational kind of game planning. So Wednesday, that's your heavy run. Wednesday, you're usually your most physical day. Thursday's kind of like your next most physical day. And then Friday, we call it Fast Friday. Everything's fast. You're not in pads. You're just running through all those different schemes. So that's kind of how the playbook is developed on both sides of the ball and how it's implemented. And then you tweak things as the week goes along. The worst thing that can ever happen is somebody goes down on a Friday practice.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden, okay, you know what? We had plays designed for that guy in the game plan, and now he got hurt on a Friday practice and he's out. Now we got to either sub somebody in for those plays, or we got to just kind of take those plays out of the game plan and save them for another week.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a thorough process. And that's just like the overlay of it. And there's so much more minutia that goes into it, constantly evolving. A lot of cooks in that kitchen kind of formulating what is best from all angles of this as they build towards
And to
each
our other
different
caller's
opponent.
point, like you're saying, a lot of cooks in the kitchen. You know what helps cooking is when you have really fresh ingredients.
Absolutely.
Like really good ingredients, you're going to make a good meal.
Better ingredients, better pizza, better. Yeah.
Nice plug. Don't say it.
I won't. But we are we're turning the page to the Chicago Bears, and before we wrap up the show, we just got to send a little congratulations to your former head coach Tom Coughlin. He's among 9 coaching semifinalists for the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2026.
Yeah, congratulations, Coach. I had a chance to talk to him last week, actually. He was just inducted to the Syracuse Sports Hall of Fame, so I know that was an unbelievable honor for him, and very very deserved award for him. And I kind of told him, Coach, you've had a big impact on all of us as players and as men. And one of the quotes that Coach Coughlin used to always have was, "It's amazing what a team can accomplish when no one cares who gets the credit."
That's a Ben Franklin quote.
Ben Franklin.
Yeah.
And, Tom, you said he had it on a T-shirt for us. It was in our team meeting room. And playing for him, you felt that from him. He never cared about the credit. Mm-hmm. He never wanted it. It was never about him. But I told him, I know you never cared about the credit, but I'm glad to see that you're getting some because you deserve it. And I also told him, congrats on that Hall of Fame. We got one more to go. So I'm rooting for him. I know that it's, that list is, there's some really accomplished coaches. So, my beef with the Hall of Fame is, why are we only letting one coach in?
Right.
Like, if 5 deserve to go in, like, get them all in. Like, let's not wait until they're posthumously inducted. Like, let's do it. And if look, I think Belichick is on there as well.
Right.
So, I think obviously he's a no-brainer, but like, you're allowed to have more than one. You shouldn't limit it to just 5 players.
How lucky are we though to be in an era where NFL football has so much talent that we're like, who gets to get in the Hall of Fame this time? All these people deserve it.
Yeah.
And we got to
I hate that they have to
watch
wait though.
and in your case play for some of these people who we're getting the nod.
Yeah.
Canton.
Well, let's go TC.
Fingers crossed
Let's
for
hope.
TC.
Yeah, let's hope it happens.
All right. Well, that's a wrap for our Wednesday show of Big Blue Kickoff Live, presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the New York Football Giants. An archive of this show and our entire podcast network is available on the Giants mobile app, podcast platforms everywhere, and giants.com/podcast. Thanks for joining us from the Giants podcast studio, presented by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better.
Please
keep getting better.
Let's keep getting better.
Let's do this. For the Super Bowl champ, Shaun O'Hara, I'm Madelyn Burke. We'll see you next time.